of microwave hybrid circuits are there, where you can form this hybrid circuit by combining two or more waveguide components. And waveguide T's are nothing but these are the junction which is used to give a particular direction to the microwave signal. Okay, so let us start with this topic. So basically microwave circuit consists of, I'll start the recording, otherwise you will tell sir where is the recording. Okay. Yeah. So microwave circuits consist of several microwave devices which are connected in some or the other manner to achieve the transmission of a microwave signal, as I told. And these microwave circuits are made up of different microwave components that you will be studying further. And all these microwave circuits are provided power with the microwave source, again which you will study in further classes like klystron, magnetron, all those things. So now what is basically a junction? As this is a common word which is applied in normal life also, generally junction is that where two or more lines meet at a particular place. So in the same manner, in case of microwave devices, interconnection of two or more microwave devices is called a microwave junction. So as you can see, some commonly used microwave junctions are shown in the figure. See, first case, if you can see, this is your E plane T. E plane Ty. See the structure of this particular microwave component. Basically, these are waveguide T's. So here junction is there. Here one port is there. Here one port is there. Another port is here. This we will discuss in detail in further slides. So this is one type of microwave junction is formed at this point. So this is E plane T. Its shape relates to E shape. Here it is H plane T. Its shape is more or less like H type. Then it is a combination of E and H, magic T. Then it is a combination of hybrid ring junction. So then again we have different types of junction, directional coupler, then circulators. All these things we'll study one by one. So now all these devices, now two or more ports are, two or more junctions, two or more devices are meeting at a common point. So in order to characterize these devices, we require two port circuits. So two port devices, already you have studied various types of two port devices you have studied in your analog electronics, H parameters, Y parameters in analog electronics as well as in networks might have studied. Various two port networks are H parameters, Y parameters, Z parameters, ABCD parameters. Correct. Now all these particular parameters relate voltage to current. We have nothing to do with these parameters. Just for your information, we are discussing here. So various two port parameters are H parameters, Y parameters, Z parameters, and ABCD parameters. I think you will know all these parameters. Now all these parameters relates voltage and currents at each of the two ports, either at short circuit condition or at open circuit conditions. Now these are well suited for low frequency signals. But since you are working at higher frequency and you have microwave junctions, then in that scenario the analysis of this particular two port devices at higher frequency becomes difficult by using these parameters A, B, C, D, all these parameters. Okay, so how to analyze that circuit or microwave circuit by using two port devices or two port parameters at microwave frequencies? So we require S parameters. So what are the conditions which does not satisfy at higher frequencies so that we cannot use this particular ABCD parameter at high frequencies? So three main reasons are listed here, and these are very famous interview questions. Why we are using S parameters at microwave frequency, why we are not using ABCD parameters? So the first reason coming to this is that at higher frequency, the set of equipments or the apparatus which you use to measure the voltage and current is not easily available, as well as it is one thing, otherwise it is costly also to make such devices at high frequencies. So this is the most fundamental reason. Second thing is that short and open circuits like short and open circuits are difficult to achieve over broadband frequencies. Like last class we have discussed stub matching and single stub matching and double stub matching. So in order to vary this length at high frequency under frequent analysis of short circuit condition and open circuit condition, because generally in microwave circuit we consider waves, standing waves, traveling waves, forward waves, reflected waves. So all this frequently we have to provide termination, non-termination. So frequently we have to use short circuit and open circuit conditions. So this condition to analyze at such high frequencies, since it is a high frequency, you will be having wide bandwidth as we have discussed yesterday. So over wide bandwidth to analyze short circuit and open circuit condition becomes difficult. Now, third, which is very important reason, is that active devices such as power transistors or tunnel diodes are frequently not have stability. Their point of stabilization, Q point, continuously shifts, as a result of which it is very difficult to achieve stabilization of these active circuits under open and short circuit conditions. So consequently, there is another parameters that is called as S parameters, which take into accounts of instead of taking voltage and current, it takes the consideration of forward waves. So because of that, you can easily analyze the circuits. Basically this S parameters take your traveling wave, forward wave, reverse wave, when two circuits are not in a connected manner or it is terminated, then the analysis of this wave becomes very easy by using S parameters. So a typical S parameter two-port network service is shown to you, where it is similar how you can calculate same thing. So basically this S parameters is used to characterize all circuits in the sense microwave circuits at this microwave frequency, whether it is antenna, whether it is your klystron, whether it is your active devices like Schottky diode, Fractal diode, then you have IMPAT, TRAPAT, all these things, power amplifiers, all these things. We use S parameter generally for stabilizations of all these circuits. Now we have to see what are waveguide T's. Next topic is waveguide T's. So waveguide T's mainly consist of, as I have discussed in the previous slide, there are basically four types of waveguide T's: E plane T, H plane T, then hybrid, combination of E and H plane T, and then ring race type circuit. So basically for a waveguide T's you have three junction: port 1, port 2, port 3. Just we'll see. Now what are the conditions or three important parameters or theorems given by scientists to consider the characterizations of waveguide T's. So these are very fundamental theorem which you have to remember. However, nobody will ask you, but these are the fundamental theorems which you have to remember. So first is that a short circuit should always be placed in one arm of the three-port junction. Basically waveguide T's are three-port junction devices. So in that scenario, a short circuit is always placed depending upon the scenario from where you are feeding the input. So a short circuit should always be placed or may always be placed in one arm of the three-port junction. In such a way, it should provide the matched termination. That means no power back should come from that particular port. That means it should provide complete matching, means 50 ohm criteria. Second thing, now if the junction is symmetric about one of its arm, then the short circuit can always be placed in that arm, so that again it should be perfectly matched and no reflection from that particular port should come back. So basically it should be at present matched conditions. So it is impossible for all the three junction of a circuits to have complete matching, which is not possible. Now based on these three theorems or three fundamental concepts, we will study different types of waveguide T's. So corresponding to that, first thing is E plane T. So this E plane T is also called as series T. As you can see here, it has three port: port 1, port 2, port 3. So obviously it is a microwave device and it has 3 port junction. So how many cross how many matrix it will be utilizing? Answer. Hello. Hello.
3 cross 3.
3 cross 3. Please answer because I am not knowing whether you are listening or not. So it will be utilizing 3 cross 3 matrices, and that matrix is nothing but S parameter matrix. So now see, basically E, because of this structure, see it relates directly to your E type structure. So because of this, it is known as E plane T. So basically it is a waveguide T in which the axis of its side are. This particular thing which you can see here, port 3, is called as side arm because its electric field is parallel to port 1 if you are feeding power through this port. Okay, and port 1 and port 2 are called as collinear arm. Better diagram of this is given in next slide. So this is just a reference diagram. You just see port 1 and port 2 lie on the same plane, so it is called as collinear arm, and the perpendicular to it is port 3, which is called as side arm or E-field arm. Now this port 3 is symmetrical to port 1 also, port 2 also. So when a signal is fed through port 3, this port 1 and port 2 will be out of phase. The symbol is shown in the next slide. So basically, now come to slide. It is a series type T. Now see this point. The port 1 and 2 are 180° out of phase, but equal in magnitude with each other when the power is fed through port 3. So better diagram you can see here. So when the power is fed at, and see input, when the input is fed at port 3, see opposite phase signal appears at port 1 and port 2. Similarly, you can feed power through any of the port. Now see in first figure, you are feeding power through port 1, see port 2 and port 3. It is going on. See how it is fed. Like this it is. I'll show you how the basically currents get divided here. It is fed like this, like this, like this, like this. Now once this comes here, this discontinuity, this continuity changes the phase of this particular signal. So from here again it goes like this, goes like this, and it comes like this. And similarly here it changes phase once it comes here, it comes like this, like this, like this. Similarly in this case also. So here if you see the better diagram, so you can see this particular port and this particular port, that is port 1 and port 2, are called collinear port because they are in the same plane, and this is the plane of field we have applied, and this field is parallel to this. So you can say that side arm have same current, like same current flow direction, electric field flow direction as compared to port 1. So now the important thing in this is that this is the basic definition, how the characteristics of S parameters vary for this particular device. For all these devices, yeah.
Could you please explain why port 3's electric field is parallel to port 1?
You are applying, no, see here this diagram. It is simple, no, see, it is in the same plane, no, it is also vertical, it is also vertical, it will be parallel only, no.
So, but port 3's electric field is horizontal, right, in the side arm?
Where?
So the diagram that you showed in the next slide,
Yes, sir.
See, this is two-dimensional diagram, man. See this device. It is a 3D. This 3D representation is given in a 2D form.
So then port 2 should be also something like that.
See, if you are giving port C, I am giving you port 1. If you are giving the input power, it is going like this, like this. Then again this, at this point, this phase will be changing. This phase will be changing. Like this it will flow. So it is the direction of flow which is shown in your 2D pattern. If you see this diagram, see port 1 field and the position of your port 3, same analogous.
Oh, okay. The position of the port 3 and the field of the port 1 are in the same plane. That's what you mean, sir.
If you, and it is symmetrical. You can replace this port with this port, and you can replace this port with, see, you replace this with this. Nothing will happen. Again, it from here to here. So it is symmetric. This port 3 is symmetric to both port 1 and port 2. Either you can go this side, either you can go that side. It is symmetric. So whenever power is flowed, it will be out of phase. So port 1 and port 2 with respect to port 3 will be out of phase, 180° out of phase. So the important thing in this, how you characterize this S parameter matrix. So the derivation is here. So I have given step-by-step derivation. Please follow this derivation properly, because this is the main thing which will be asked in your exam. So again, I'll go back. Yeah. Now you have to characterize this S plane T. Now whether it is S plane, E plane T, H plane T, hybrid T, you have to find the derivation for all its S parameter. That means now first we'll see here in case of E plane T, it is a 3-port device. That means it will have a 3x3 matrix. So 3x3 matrix I have represented in form of S. I have written S11, S12, S13, S21, S22, S23, S31, S32, S33. Okay, consider this as equation 1. Now let us see S13 and S23 are out of phase. So S23 and S13 are out of phase. So we are representing by minus sign. Not, and please note here, it is not always this scenario. Sometimes it may be with a different port. It's how you are feeding it. If you are feeding it through port 1, scenario will be different. If you are feeding through port 2, scenario will be different. If you are feeding, now you are feeding through port 3. So these two are in opposite direction, S23 and but magnitudes are same. Now let us consider your port 3 is perfectly matched. So port 3, according to the theorem, port 3 is correctly matched. So S33 is equal to 0. That means there is no reflecting back power from here. It is perfectly matched. So S33 is 0. Now we have to find the value of S11, S12, S13, all these parameters value we have to find. Then you have to substitute here. Then by using that value, you can characterize the E plane T completely. So now coming to the calculation of values. Now from the symmetry property of matrix, you know that S of ij is equal to Sji, and it is proved in your microwave devices. I don't know whether if you will do projects or you will come to lab and you will do the lab, practically you have to validate this. So through symmetry property, we can say that S12 is equal to S21, S23 is equal to S32. Please note this all things. S13 is equal to S31. Anyhow, I will share the slide. Okay,
Sir?
now. Yeah.
So could you explain what scattering coefficients are? Exactly, I didn't understand.
Scattering coefficient is nothing but S11, S12, S3, S2. These are S parameters which are relating to your voltage, traveling voltage on a transmission line. Yesterday I have told you, voltage standing wave ratio.
Yeah.
Correct? No. So these are the traveling waves which are following on your transmission line from source to load and back from load to source. So in order to characterize this standing wave or the traveling wave, basically at higher frequency, we use these scattering parameters rather than using H parameters, Y parameters, Z parameters, because these are defined in terms of traveling voltage. So short circuit and open. Yeah.
Could you
Yesterday
also
somebody asked me one question, correct? No. VSWR, something like that. Vmax by Vmin. Who asked? Yeah, I remember one.
I asked what Vmax and Vmin were.
Yeah, you asked, no? So yesterday I was telling you, it was basically it is your traveling wave where you see what is the maxima, where is the minima, and because of this you characterize this. So this characterization takes place of scattering parameter. How much scattering is happening from your transmitter side to receiver, source side to load side, and load to source when you are traveling from load to source or source to load. These are a complete setup of what you call derivations which you find in your transmission lines. So basically, and yesterday also same thing you asked, VSWR sir, Vmax by Vmin. Vmax relate to what? Vmin relate to what? I think you have asked, no?
Yeah.
Okay. And my answer was it is nothing but a traveling wave which corresponds to incident wave and reflected wave. Correct? No. So generally Vmax is nothing, and you were telling something. Vmax, if you are taking corresponding to reflected voltage, it will be 0, then it becomes infinite. Correct? No. Now you understand here. No, you only asked. No.
No, that
I did, sir. I did.
Then you did some analysis and told, sir, Vmax divided by Vmin is equal to, then Vmin will be corresponding to reflected voltage, then it becomes infinite, correct? No, same this question.
Yeah.
But again, I told you, no, it is from the perspective of your reflection coefficient point of view, which we have to look into this. See, Vmax is nothing but corresponding to your reflection coefficient. It is nothing but forward voltage and reverse voltage. So when you are taking consideration of Vmax, it is nothing but mod of Vmax will give you the forward voltage as well as reverse voltage. The addition of both is equal to your Vmax, and Vmin is nothing but again in corresponding to your reflected
subtraction.
wave. Yeah.
Traveling mine as in forward minus backward is Vmin.
Yes, because it is traveling, no, corresponding to reflected wave. Vmax minus Vmin.
So your voice is not audible.
Reflection coefficient is what? Nothing but how much back power is coming from your load. That is nothing but reflected wave by forward wave. Correct? No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when you take into consideration your Vmax becomes simply your Vmax become Vf forward wave and addition of forward wave and reverse wave. Vmin becomes difference between your forward wave and reverse wave. Now you evaluate, but again in order to evaluate you have to take reflection coefficient into consideration. Why? Because your reflected wave is given always in terms of what? Reflection coefficient. What is the coefficient of reflection reflecting back from your load? So which is nothing but gamma is equal to VR divided by VF. Then you put in this, then you calculate, then you will not get infinite. So how could I tell? Same thing I was telling you yesterday, but you were telling simply one statement. So Vmin will be 0, so it will be 0. It's not like that. Actually, you all are getting confusion because you have not studied transmission line. All these are explained in detail in transmission line in field theory, which I think you might have not studied. Correct? No, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir. Like at some point you said Vmin is corresponding to reflecting wave, so I got confused.
Correct. It is because you cannot tell it is corresponding to your what you call incident wave. It takes into consideration of reflected wave maximum because your Vmin corresponds to the point where your minima will be minimum. Minima in that back reflection of your minima, how much you are getting. So that again takes into consideration of your forward wave and reflected wave.
It's corresponding to standing wave, not only reflected wave. That's where I got confused, I guess.
Okay. So now you understood, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the basically scattering parameters which we utilize for your what you call microwave devices. So all these things we are analyzing with the help of scattering parameter. This is the function of scattering parameters, and each port we have to find what is the relation of one port with other and how much power under short circuit condition and under open circuit condition and under perfect matching condition is coming back and giving its value. So that we are characterizing using S parameters. That is only called as scattering parameters. Understood? The person who has what is scattering. Yeah.
Sir, could you go back to the previous slide once?
Yes. More previous. Yes.
So this one. So here the way in the transmission. First of all, these are physical transmission lines, right?
Waveguide.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
sir,
so these arrows they're only showing the electric field component of the EM wave, right?
Yeah.
So that is why they're perpendicular to the direction from port 1 to port 2. While the wave will be traveling from port 1 to port 2.
Obviously. And again, wave will be taking a termination at port 3 because discontinuity is there.
Okay.
Here, this point, wave will be taking a shift because discontinuity is there at this point. Because of this discontinuity, the values of scattering parameters will differ between port 1 to port 2 in relation with port 2 to port 3, port 1 to port 2 and port 1 to port 3. So that we are trying to find out.
Okay. So sir, if we say port 1 to port 2 is placed along the x-axis, then the direction of propagation of wave, the entire wave will still be in the x-axis. While the
this is I think basic question. See, you have studied your electromagnetic field theory, no? So in electromagnetic field theory, you have studied no time varying fields.
Yes, sir. They are
Varying
both
fields you have
perpendicular
studied
to
no.
each other.
Yeah,
Electric
both
field
are
and
perpendicular and the
magnetic.
direction is perpendicular to all two of these waves. Correct? No. If a wave is
Yes,
moving
sir.
in E plane, like electric field is in E one plane x axis, then H what do you call that? Magnetic field will be either in Y or Z axis, and the entire wave will be perpendicular to both of these axes. Correct? No. Same concept applies here
Yes, sir.
also.
Yes,
So
sir.
what is
Yes.
the
I was just
confusion?
confirming if that's electric field. I got confused there.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
shall I go to now derivation?
Sure, sir.
Okay, so basically from symmetric property we know S12 is equal to S21, S23 is equal to S32, and S13 is equal to S31. Now, again considering these values, we can replace this. So S11 as it is, S12 as it is, S13 as it is. Now S21, here it was S21, no? So S21 according to symmetry property, it will be changed into what? S12, S22 as it is. Now here it was what? S23 we can replace because out of phase signal, so it is S23 is replaced by what? Minus S1 of 3. Similarly, here it will be what? S31. S31 is analogous to what? S13. Correct? No. Then again S32. S32 is analogous to S23. S23 is again equal to what? Minus S1 of 3. Port third is perfectly matched. So 0. Any confusion till here? I'm asking. Any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. So now from the property of unitary matrix, we know that this matrix and its conjugate will be equal to your identity matrix. Now replace this matrix by its conjugate. So which is replaced here, same thing, and it is equal to its unitary matrix. Now solve this. So how to solve this? Row 1, column 1. So this one multiply with this one. This is basic thing I know. I assume that you all know this basic multiplication of matrix. So what you will get? S11 its conjugate plus S12 its conjugate plus S13 its conjugate, which will be equal to what? 1. So basically what it is? Mod of S11 is square, mod of S12 is square, mod of S13 square is equal to what? 1. Same thing. Now similarly you can do and multiply same R3 with C1. So same thing you multiply here, R3 with C3 you multiply, you will get this value. So correspondingly these are represented in terms of equation. Then 3 S13 conjugate minus S13. Now we got these values from multiplying your matrix. Now we have to find the correspondingly value. S11 value we have to find, S22 value we have to find, S13 value we have to find. Already S33 is 0. Now see, so equating equation 6 and 7. So equation 6 and 7, if you equate, obviously S12 will get cancelled out, S13 will get cancelled out, and you will get what? S11 equal to S22. Understood? I'm talking about this one. This will be mod of S11 square, mod of S12 square, mod of, so this one and this one will get cancelled out. What you will get? S11 equal to S22. Mod of S11 is equal to mod of S22, which is nothing but S11 is equal to S22. Now from equation 8, this equation you see S1 of 3 square plus S1 of 3 square, same value. So twice of S1 3 square you will get, which is nothing but 1 by root 2. Correct? No, if you will remove the this, you will get square root here. Correct? Any confusion till here? Please tell. No confusion, no?
No, sir.
Yeah. Now you see equation number 9. Equation number 9 is what? S13, S11 conjugate, S13, S12 conjugate is equal to 0. So now from here you take S13 common and you equate this to 0. So what you will get? S11 conjugate minus S12 conjugate is equal to 0, which again means what? S11 conjugate is equal to S12 conjugate. So S11 conjugate you can write, or you can write S11 conjugate, you can write 1 by S11 is equal to S12 conjugate, you can write 1 by S12. So cross multiply, S11 is equal to S22. So it is written like this: S11 is equal to S12, which is also equal to S22. Now see here, so using equation, all these equations In first you can put which you have in this equation, you can put this equation, any of this equation you can put, so you can get the value easily. So that is one S11 square, again S22 is equal to S11 square plus S13 is nothing but you have found already 1 by 2 because it is a square, so 1 by root 2 square is nothing but 1 by 2 is equal to 1. So twice of S11 is equal to 1 by 2. So S11 is equal to what? 1 by 2. So now if S11 is equal to 1 by 2, so similarly you will be having S12 is also equal to 1 by 2 and S22 will also be equal to 1 by 2, which already we have proved. So corresponding to all this value we have found out, now put in the terms of matrix form. This is the matrix finally which we have got after putting the value after symmetric and perfect termination. So S11 is what? 1 by 2. S12 is what? 1 by 2. This 1 by root 2, then 1 by 2, 1 by 2 minus 1 by root 2. 1 by root 2 S31 same it is, both are same, 1 by minus 1 by root 2 and 0. So in this form, in order to calculate this in equation form, you can write like this. So this basically this is okay, fine. So this is very important. Generally in competitive examination, this is asked for your what do you call example, like what is the S parameter matrix of a E-plane T, and this derivation is very important. Generally if you see gate questions, in gate questions based on this matrix, they have asked 2 marks questions, direct 2 marks questions in 2010, 2013, 2016, 2008. All these 2 marks direct questions are there based on this. In 1 mark question in 2011, 2014, they have asked what is the generally directly S parameter matrix of a E-plane T. So this is very important. Not only this, all after this we have H-plane T after this. So its S parameter matrix is very important. In a single term, they will directly ask like this. So in exam point of view, its derivation you have to learn properly. They may ask derive the S parameter matrix of E-plane T. Okay, so this was all about your E-plane T. Similar to this E-plane T, we have H-plane T also. So let us see what is this H-plane T. H-plane T is also called as shunt T. You can see here it is in the shape of H-shaped. E, all these three, but here you can see here all 3 lines are same. That means there will be no phase difference. It is additive. There is no phase difference at port 3, port 1 and port 2 with respect to port 3. They are in same phase. So S13 and S23 are same. There is no phase difference. So basically your H-plane T is nothing but it is a waveguide T in which one of its side arm, that is E field, is parallel to H field of the main guide. The arm of rectangular waveguide make 2 ports called collinear ports, same as it is. Port 1 and port 2 are referred to as collinear port. Only the flow of field is different. Rest everything is same. Only in case of E-plane T, it was perpendicular. Now it is in different manner. Again, it is symmetric to both port 1 and port 2, your port 3, which is your side arm. So if you see this, same it is collinear arm, port 1, port 2 and port 3. It is just more or like a shape of a H, half H. So it is called as your H-plane T. Again, here as I told, there is no phase difference. So S13 is equal to S23. So again, we have to calculate the S parameter for this particular T also. The same procedure we have to follow. So the S, it is also a 3-port device. So it will be represented by what? 3 cross 3 matrix, which is nothing but S11, S12. Same it is given here as in equation 1. Now, as I told you, S13 and S23 are in same phase. So we are considering same. Now from symmetric property as it is, we have to move forward. Same S12 will be equal to S21, S23 is equal to S32, S13 is equal to S31. Now again we are considering that port 3 is completely matched. That means S33 is equal to 0. So again replace those values as we have done in case of E-plane T. So S11 हो जाएगा S12, S13, S12, S22 same. There is no difference. So it will be as it is S13. So S31 is analogous to S13. So S32 is nothing but equal to S23. S23 is again equal to what? S13. So we have written S13 in place of S32. Then port 3 is perfectly matched. So it is written as 0. Now again same procedure you have to follow. Multiply by its conjugate to get unitary matrix. So same thing we have done. Again we got the same equation. S11 its conjugate, S12 its conjugate, S13 its conjugate is equal to 1. So what you will get? S11 square mod S12 square mod S13 square. Same thing you do for second row, second column, third row, third column. So same thing we got. Then R3C3 is same S13 square plus S13 mod square is equal to 1, and same thing for R3C1 S13 S11 conjugate minus S13. The same procedure will follow. First we will take this. So R3C3 if we are taking, what we will get? This S13 and S13 both are same. So again what you will get? S13 is equal to 1 by root 2. So now you see again we will equate those two equations, equation 3 and equation 4. So you will get what? S11 mod square is equal to S22 square, which is nothing but S11 is equal to S22. Same thing here we'll do, and we'll get what? S11 is equal to S22, and same procedure we applied, and we calculated the values by putting it in that above equation. So you will get S12 is equal to minus 1 by 2, S22 is equal to 1 by 2. So replacing this S parameters by the same value, you will get this, and this is again a very important thing at the end, because this is the end results. This is how you have to tell what is the S parameter matrix of a H plane T. Again, it is very important again. So it is cumulative in GATE questions. It is generally cumulative. One time they will ask E plane, one time they will ask H plane, another time they will ask magic T, combination of E and H plane T. But one questions will be there from here in microwave. So this is all about your H plane T, and the combination of these two tree is nothing but your magic T. Combination of E plane T and combination of H plane T give rise to your magic T. This magic T is also called as hybrid T, or it is also called as EH plane T. You can see here how was your, if you forget this particular portion, then it becomes what? E plane T. If you forget this portion, it becomes what? It becomes H plane T. Understood? Now same thing as I told you.
The opposite. Like if we forget port 3, it will be H plane.
If we forget port 3, it will become E plane, no?
Okay. Yes.
Correct, no?
Yes.
If we forget,
I was seeing diagram. The diagram is the right.
This is actually, you tell me which big diagram or small diagram. I have given one
small diagram. It's correct.
Small diagram. If you will remove port 4, it will become E plane T.
Yes,
in this, if you remove port 3, it becomes H plane T. It's just a combination, you can see here, correct, no? On H plane T, they have kept just one more side arm perpendicular to it. Obviously, it gives rise to what? E plane T. So this portion, if you see here, it is an E plane T, and this portion, if you see, it is an H plane T. So it is just a combination of E and H, and these T's are very important in calculating impedance matching of a transmitter, a receiver, null detector. Many things are there that we will see. Understood?
Sir? So basically, what do we mean by saying a perfectly matched port?
You were not there yesterday.
So I was there yesterday, but like in there we had source and
I'll tell you. See, you asked what is perfectly matched, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, others, you just listen, because I think he might have missed something yesterday. So suppose this is a device. Okay. So this is the source end of a device, and this is the load end of a device. If this particular load is completely matched with the source, okay, completely matched with the source means whatever the impedance this source is having, and the same impedance if this particular load is having, suppose this source is having 50 ohm and this load is having 50 ohm. So in that case, what it is impedance matched. So now it is called as perfect matching. Why? Because whatever power you are incidenting, since it is having same impedance match at both the ends, then the reflection of power from this line to load will be less. Less means it will be null, zero if it is ideally, it is perfectly matched. So this is called as perfect matching condition, where the back reflection from the load is zero if the load is completely matched with the source, or if the load is having the same impedance of the source. So this phenomena is called as impedance matching or perfect impedance matching. I hope this is clear now.
Okay, sir. So if in the ET,
Your
what
voice
if,
is not clear.
sir? Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
If all the three ports were perfectly matched, will my parameters S11, S22, S3?
We just now few slides back I told you, there is a theorem. It is not possible to match all the three ports simultaneously. That is a
Okay.
condition.
Okay.
Practically, there is a condition, no. Okay. So now these are the characteristics. We'll see the characteristics of a magic T. So these are more or less theoretical. Okay, I will tell you. This is nothing to understand here. Just you have to see here. Now, if a signal of equal phase and magnitude is sent to port 1 and port 2, then the output at port 4 is 0 and the output at port 3 will be additive of both the ports, port 1 and 2, as we have seen in the diagrams previously. Now, if a signal is sent to port 4, ER, then the power is divided between port 1 and port 2 equally, but opposite in phase, while there would be no output at port 3. Hence S34 is equal to 0. So these are the characteristics of a matrix, which are more or less theoretical. You can just go through it. Nothing more conceptual in this. Conceptual is the calculation of your S parameters value of this particular magic T. Now it is a combination of what? E plane T and H plane T. That means how many ports it will be having? 4 ports. If it is having 4 ports, obviously it will be having how many cross how many matrix? 4 cross 4 matrix. Okay, so that 4 cross 4 matrix is represented here. So that is nothing but S11 to S44. Again, now we'll put the condition one by one. As it has H plane T junction, already we have seen in H plane what it is. S23 is equal to S13. Powers are additive in case of H plane T. Now, as it has E plane T junctions, obviously now the E plane T junction I have mentioned port 4. So what it will be? S24 corresponding to 4th port. If you are feeding the power, your S24 and S14 will be having out of phase sign. So S24 is equal to minus S14. Now, obviously you have E plane and H plane, and obviously for better impedance matching, these two ports should be isolated properly. Isolated means no power of port 4 should go to port 3, or no power of port 3 should come to port 4. That means it should be in complete isolation. So S3 is equal to S43 is equal to 0. It should be matched. So corresponding to this condition, you have to now replace the matrix by using its symmetric property. Again, we have to use symmetric property. So here what you will get? S12 is equal to S21, S13 is equal to S31, S14 is equal to S41, S23 32, S24 42, S34 43. Now considering two ports are completely matched, S33 and S44, E and H plane ports are completely matched. So what you will get, replace these values, S11 as it is, S12 as it is, S13 as it is, S14 as it is. Now S21, S12 will become S22 as it is, S23 is equal to S13, you have seen previously. Again same thing, S24 is equal to 42 is equal to minus 14. Then 3113, same thing, 32 is equal to 13, 0. Again this is 0 as we have seen previously. I have put this value. Similarly 4114 S14 equal to same is it is equal to 4224 and it is equal to S minus 14, then this is 0 and S44 is equal to 0. So by putting the above conditions, we have replaced this particular matrix by the values which we have found above. Now here you have to see, we have to find the values of S11, you have to find the values of S12, we have to find the value of S13, and we have to find the value of S14. Only first row we have to find. If we find this first row, this S22, then I think we can find the entire values of this particular matrix. You can expect this in your exam. Okay, now again same thing, we have to move ahead. You have to multiply this particular matrix with its unitary matrix, and again conjugate matrix, and you have to equate it to your unitary matrix. So same thing, same S11 mod of S11 square, mod of S12 square, mod of S13 square plus mod of S14 square is equal to 1. This will be minus, this will be minus. Please pay attention. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
The
sir.
small error is there. Please see here. See, when you will do R1 C1, S1 mod of S11 square plus mod of S12 square plus mod of S13 square plus mod of S14 square. Correct? No, is equal to 1. Why I'm taking this S14 that side, so it will be minus here. Please pay attention. Are you able to note this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Please see to it. It is just error while doing that. So I have corrected here. Okay. Now this was small error. You please see to it. It is not plus. It is. I have just. If you are not transferring also, that is fine. Anyhow, you just see if you are transferring S14 that side, it will be minus. Please take care. This small trivial error. Please rectify it. Now same thing R3 C3. Same thing you will get S13 square plus S13 square. So from here you can directly find the value of S13, which will be equal to what? 1 by 2. Why? Twice of S13 square is equal to 1. So S13 is 1 by 2. That is nothing but if you will remove the square, you will get root. Same thing from here also. So you will get the values of S14 and S13 is equal to 1 by root 2, which they have done here. See, S13 is equal to 1 by root 2. S14 is equal to 1 by root 2. Okay. Now, if you compare equation 8 and 9, 8 and 9 means these two equations. So if you are not taking this side also, so you will be having mod of S11 square, S12 square. So I can directly go here. This will be cancelled. If you equate equation 8 and 9, S12 will be cancelled out, S13 will be cancelled out, S14 will be cancelled out. So you will be remaining with what? S11 square and S22 square. Mod of S11 square is equal to mod of S22 square. Same thing it is shown here, that is S11 is equal to S22. Now putting all these values what you have found here in any of this previous equation, in any of this equation you can put these values, that is S1 mod of S11 square plus S12 square plus S13 square plus S14 square is equal to 1. So if you put same thing they have done here, S11 square plus S12 square plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2. So you will get this. Now once you put this value in this particular equation, second equation, once you put this value in this particular equation, you will get S11 is equal to S12 is equal to 0. This. So now you see S11 is equal to S12 is equal to 0. So you know that S11 is also equal to what? S22. So now what you will get? S11 is equal to S22 is equal to S12 is equal to 0. So we have S12 0, S11 0, S22 0, S13 1 by root 2, S14 1 by root 2. So corresponding to this, now we have to define the matrix. So just put correspondingly whatever values you have found for S parameters, just put it here. 0, 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2. Correspondingly, these values you will put 0, 0, 1 by 2, minus 1. So this is also very important. And this is a ES question of 2019. Indian Engineering Service 2019 question. Derivation, long questions they ask in Indian Engineering Service to solve, like your traditional, you will be having semester exam, no? They ask. So that is about your EH plane T. So again, it's a combination of E and H plane T, where you see how the powers and the desired signals are being put in a particular microwave devices to achieve the signal transmission. So all these things you can relate in your home, all these devices. See, if you see in your home, you have water connections in your home, no? Correct? Please answer here.
Yes, sir.
You might be having water connections in your home from that reservoir to your some tap and all. So when there is a bending, you use what? Suppose if 2 junctions is required, you put L type something. If from one point you want to give 3-point water source, you apply T junctions. So same you can relate all these thing with those thing, and water is nothing but you can consider it as a microwave signal. So in the desired direction, wherever you want to send your water, in the same analogous way, in order to send your microwave signal, it will go corresponding to those devices. These are fit into big microwave devices to give the signal transmission at different orientation, at different angles. So next is your applications of Magic T. Again, more or less theoretical. It is used in null detector. Basically, important is this impedance matching, measures of impedance of a null detector. It is used in a duplexer. Duplexer is nothing but a circuit where you have both transmitter as well as receiver. Basically, duplexer we define in terms of antenna. An antenna, a duplexer means the transmitting and receiving portions are on the same device. So that type of devices are called as duplexers. Anyhow, a particular given antenna can be acting as a transmitter as well as receiver. There is no doubt in that. Then you can use this in a mixer, microwave mixer basically. Then you can use this in microwave bridges, microwave discriminator, magnetron, all those things. You can use this particular Magic T. Magic T means combination of E plane E and H plane T, or hybrid T. Please don't get confused. It has 3 names. All 3 mean same thing. Now, analogous to this, when these circuits are connected in circular manner, then what will happen? So all these things give rise to another type of hybrid circuit that is called as hybrid rings rat race circuit. So this is connected in a circular manner. Okay. Hello. Are you all getting my points?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, hybrid rings is nothing but it is a microwave device which is used to combine 2 signals with no phase difference and to avoid the signal path difference. In order to make you understand, I have taken different cases, and these different cases will explain how this particular device function. Now you see, there is a difference of length between different ports. Suppose if you're seeing port 1 to port 2, there is a difference in length of lambda by 4. Why we take lambda by 4? Because generally lambda by 4 signifies our matched impedance condition. Lambda by 4 is nothing but quarter wavelength. Quarter wavelength is acting as an impedance matching or impedance inversion device. So generally we always match a line with lambda by 4 when you are designing any microwave devices and you are feeding using any transmission line. So generally we consider transmission line length as lambda by 4 because it provides quite good impedance matching. All these things, why lambda by 4 provides good impedance matching, is given in detail in the topic transmission line. In transmission line, you have to study all these things. What is the input reflection coefficient? What is the input impedance? If you have a line of lambda by 2, what will be value of its impedance? If you have a line of length lambda by 4, what will be its value? And these are very important questions in any competitive examination. Transmission lines are very important, and you have not covered that. Anyhow, if you come back or anytime something, I will just give detailed analysis of your transmission line, because it takes almost 10 to 12 hours more than that to complete that particular topic. Anyhow, whatever I have told you, it is the heart of transmission line, because if any question theoretically, if it is been asked, it will be these questions which we have discussed from yesterday till today. So beyond that, they will not ask. Just they will ask one more questions which are much asked from transmission line, is that what are the characteristics of different length of a transmission line? Suppose lambda by 4, how it is related to your impedance matching, lambda by 2, how it is related to your impedance matching, lambda by 8, how it is related to your impedance matching. These questions generally they ask. So for timing, you consider your lambda by 4 is considered to be a good impedance matching connector. In antenna also, when we design antenna, the strip line or the feed line which we generally make will be in the order of lambda by 4 only. It is an impedance matching converter, or you can use it is an impedance inversion device. So better pictorial representation of this is given here. Simplified version of rat race junction is shown here. So the distance length between port 1 and port 2 is lambda by 4. Similarly, port 2 to port 3 is lambda by 4, port 3 to port 4 is lambda by 4, and there is a larger length difference between port 1 to port 4 because we have not given any discontinuity between P1 to P4. So it takes the total distance from P1 to P4, that is nothing but 3 lambda by 4, and this lambda is nothing but the wavelength present in the waveguide, the signal propagating in a waveguide. And I told you what is a waveguide. It is a hollow circular device which is used to guide a microwave signal or electromagnetic signal. It is of different shape. If it is this hollow circuit is of rectangular in nature, then it becomes rectangular waveguide. If it is circular in nature, it becomes circular waveguide. If it is cylindrical in nature, it becomes cylindrical waveguide. So you don't get confused. It is just used to guide your electromagnetic wave. So all these things we are seeing here in particular waveguide. So just consider case 1. So if the input power is applied at port 1, it gets equally split into 2 ports, but in clockwise direction for port 2 and anti-clockwise direction for port 4. All these things should be shown practically once you are back here in the lab. All these things are there. You can practically visualize how it is happening. So case 1, the reason for being at port 2 and port 4, the power combined in phase. I have extracted the best thing and I have given in such a manner that you will not have any doubt. So I have prepared this slide in such a manner so you will not require any book to refer. So please, I will give you after this lectures, I will give you the entire slide of the topic which I have covered yesterday and today. Please go through this slides. You will have a better glance and more in detail. If you want to go more depth, if you want to do research, then please refer Samuel L. Liao book. So similarly for case 2, same thing will be there. If the input power is applied to port 3, the power gets equally divided between port 2 and port 4, but there will be no output at port 1. Same thing, crystal clear, point by point I have explained you, and correspondingly no need to find the S parameter matrix in order to make it more complex. Not required, because already you have seen it will be very more or less as compared to your E plane, H plane and magic T. So just you remember this matrix is very important. Similar to the condition cases we have applied case 1, case 2, case 3. Based on that, we have replaced this matrix simply. No need for derivation, no need to find the value of S12, S14 because it will follow the same procedure. Same thing we do not repeat. So same thing, all these diagonal elements are 0, S11, S12, all 3 are matched, all 4 ports are matched properly. So here again all these values. So please remember this just value wherever it is perfect matching. It's correspondingly replaced with 0. Rest all other values are there which you can just tell S12, S14, S1. So this is a matrix. Generally this form of matrix is very much asked in your competitive examination. So this is all about your hybrid ring race junction. So earlier you have seen the circuits are connected in a what you call a horizontal manner or vertical manner, but in case of hybrid ring, the entire circuit is connected in a circular manner, and how the signal variation take place at each port that are defined in case 1, case 2 and case 3. Based on these cases, we define a matrix, and corresponding to that we have formed a matrix of rat race junction. So this is all about your different types of waveguide T's. So we have different types of waveguide T's. What are those? E plane T, H plane T, E H plane T and rat race junctions. So these are very important. Please learn this, practice derivations of this and do it. Now the last topic of today's lecture is waveguide corner bends and twist. Yes, tell.
So one
Shall
small.
we complete this particular last slide? It is. After that we can have question answer session. Correct. If you agree. Otherwise, if you want to ask, you can ask. I don't have any problem. As you say. Correct. No. We'll finish this slide. I am also tired. Continuously speaking. Waveguide corner bends and twist. Okay. All these things. As I told you a few minutes back, corners means if you want your microwave signal to feed particular devices at certain angle, you use corner. If you want to bend it at particular angle, you use bend. If you twist it, you use a twister. So these microwave components used to change the direction of a guide. Guide means electromagnetic wave, which it is following through a waveguide through an arbitrary angle, as I told. So to minimize the reflection from the discontinuity, obviously these are having discontinuity. See, first one is your corner. This is your corner. It is having a twist and continuity is present here and here. So in this continuity, obviously impedance mismatch is there. If impedance mismatch is there, then reflections from there will be there. So in order to minimize this reflection, you have to do something. So you have to give a length in such a manner there should be minimum reflection. So this is bent. This particular is your corner. This is your bend. It is bended. See. Then it is your twist thing. So like this. And this is a continuous twist which is used to provide a direction to a microwave signal at a particular angle continuously. It is basically used in klystron, microwave klystron, which is there in your syllabus and in your lab also. Once you come here, you will see all these things. All these waveguide components you can physically see here. Okay. So these are having certain continuities. See, if it is a bend, you see corner, it is having a discontinuity at this point. Again, it is having a discontinuity at this particular point. Again, same thing here also, same thing here also. So how to minimize this reflection from this discontinuity? So to minimize the reflection from the discontinuity, the length which is shown here, L, is fixed such that it is equal to the, again same thing I told you, no, same length, lambda g by 4, but it is an odd multiple of lambda g by 4. So this has been proved practically. So there is no what we call this thing, why it is so. It is already proved in the lab. If you refer the data sheets, you can, and this lambda by 4 line, it is used for impedance matching. This you can prove by using input impedance of a transmission line, where you can replace this particular length is equal to lambda by 4, and you can see you will get Zn is equal to Z0. Z0 is nothing but characteristic impedance. So in order to minimize this reflection, the length of the guide, or the mean effective length between the discontinuity should be equal to 2n plus 1 into quarter wavelength, lambda g by 4. Lambda g is nothing but wavelength in the waveguide. Now, for a waveguide bend, the minimum radius of curvature, that means how much minimum you can bend it, it should not be beyond a certain specified practical limit. So that practical limit is given as R is equal to 1.5B for E plane and R is equal to 1.5A for H band. So now this A and B are nothing but the dimensions of your guide. This is nothing but the dimension of your guide, length and width of your guide. And this particular length and width also define the mode, dominant mode or evanescent mode of a waveguide. Waveguide you have studied? In a transmission line, waveguides you have studied? Waveguide also you have not studied?
Sir, the entire transmission line topic was cut off.
Skipped.
So generally the dimension of a waveguide, just brief concept I will give you. See, generally all these things are nothing but waveguide. So all these waveguide are characterized by this parameters A and B. These are what you call dimensions of your waveguide. So this dimension of waveguide defines how much signal at a particular frequency will propagate, whether it is dominant mode, dominant mode is nothing but the minimum frequency in a waveguide at which signal propagation starts. That is called as dominant mode. So for dominant mode, what is the standard value of dimensions A and B in a waveguide. If it is less as compared to that operating frequency, then you will have an evanescent mode. Evanescent mode means the mode at which there is no flow of signal. That means signal propagation does not take place. The frequency at which signal propagation does not take place in a waveguide. So your designing of waveguide is entirely dependent on this particular dimensions A and B, and all these waveguides are made in sense with a standard waveguide. We have a certain standard waveguide guidelines. Based on that, we have to give this dimension. We cannot give any dimensions. So generally, this is a waveguide is generally a metallic conductor, hollow conductor. It is a metallic hollow conductor. You have seen a horn antenna? Anything? Nothing you have seen, no? You have seen this
LNBs in front of LNBs.
LAPs means?
So the which are used in TV dish.
TV dish horn. That is horn antenna, but that is modified version. I am talking about metallic. That is used as a feeder, no? Horn antenna. In the middle of a dish, you use that. That is nothing but horn antenna only, no? See, basically waveguide will be like this. See, this is one metallic part, this is another metallic part. So waveguide this is basically a rectangular waveguide I have shown. It is like this, just like this. It is a hollow thing. It will be having shape like this. Suppose if I show you properly. It will be like this. Okay, the signal propagation enters here, and generally if I show you in 2 dimensions, the signal comes here, it goes here, it comes here, it goes here, it comes here, it goes here, like this. It is just guiding the signal properly to reach its destination. So generally at high frequency, please note this point, very important point I am telling from like your technical company point of view. Generally they ask in competitive, whatever companies, technical companies of communication comes in MIT or anywhere we are giving exam, they ask at high frequency which type of transmission line do you use. So at high frequency, generally they mean high frequency means microwave frequency. For normal frequency, we use this normal transmission line wires, 2 wires, or the wire which is used to feed electricity in your home, that is single wire. So at low frequency, we use this type of wires. Why? Because radiation losses from these wires are not that much considerable. Matlab it is optimum, so you can use at this particular frequencies normal transmission lines like single wire transmission line or 2 wire transmission line. But when you are operating your signal at microwave frequencies, you cannot use single wire or 2 wire transmission line at higher frequencies. Why? Because the signal losses or the radiation losses from that particular transmission lines are very much, as a result of which signal gets totally attenuated. I think you have studied this particular phenomena in your EMFT, gamma propagation constant. Gamma is what? Gamma is equal to under root of alpha plus j beta. Correct? No? You have studied this or not? Or you have not studied this also? Huh?
Yes, sir, we have studied.
Gamma is nothing but propagation. So entire propagation in a transmission line is drastically affected because radiation losses will be more. What is radiation losses? Nothing but, see, it will get burnt at higher frequencies because power is too high. It cannot sustain that much high power, as a result of which your total signal gets attenuated. That's why at higher frequency we use waveguide as a transmission line. This is a very famous question, and waveguide always acts as a high pass filter. These are few questions you please note down, which are very important for your interview. Waveguide generally act as a high pass filter. It allows only high frequency. It acts as a high pass filter, and at higher frequency we use waveguide. Why? Because radiation losses from waveguides are very less. Why? Because see here, waveguides are made up of metallic conductor. it has upper cavity wall, lower cavity wall, and signal penetrates
Horizon Zero
from
Dawn
here
has
and it moves
arrived
here.
on
And
PC.
here this losses will
Number
be
of
less.
problems.
Why?
When making a
Because
video
small
for
losses
digital
will be there, that is ohmic losses or heat losses will be there, because signal strikes here, some heat losses will be there, but as a result the overall signal propagation is good. So at microwave frequencies, we generally use waveguide as a transmission line because the radiation losses will be low. When radiation losses is less, that means the propagation, this condition, propagation is very good. Alpha is nothing but what? Attenuation. Alpha is nothing but attenuation, and beta is nothing but your phase shift constant. Correct? No? Beta is nothing but what? Phase shift constant. J omega beta, this only, no? This you, what do you call? No. Alpha and J beta, you have what do you call it? Derived, I think, equation based on this also, no? In electromagnetic field, in time varying equations, in order to see the polarization of your waves and all, vertically polarized, horizontally polarized, how it propagates, how the wave propagates, all these things you have studied, no? In your electromagnetic field theory. The same thing is here. If your attenuation constant increases, then the propagation goes very small, very low. So at high frequencies, if you are using normal 2-wire transmission line or single wire transmission or sometimes coaxial cable, your radiation losses will be more. So generally we prefer waveguide at higher frequency, microwave frequencies, because radiation loss will be less. So this is all about your directional coupler. We will be studying in next class. Yeah, so that was all about your waveguide, microwave circuits and waveguide Ts. So this completes your portion for waveguide Ts and microwave components such as bends, twist, and corners. Yeah, please, if you have any questions, please ask for today's class.
So
your voice is not visible. Sorry, audible.
So
yeah.
So in the case where
it's loud, I'm not able to hear you.
So in the case when the ports are not matched exactly, so yes. Yeah, the ports in any E or H, any of those, so what kind of a phase difference will that introduce?
Opposite phase generally. Actually, if it is not matched, I am assuming it is completely mismatched. If it is completely mismatched, whatever power you are giving, it is entirely reflected back. So suppose it is no phase, then the whatever phase you are giving, the entire opposite of that, it will be reflected back.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a fundamental doubt that in the E-plane T, can you just go to that slide of E-plane T?
Are you able to see the slide?
Not. I am able to see the slides, but not the E-plane one.
Yeah.
So can you show the diagram of that E-plane T?
Which diagram you want to see?
Anyone. Sir, I have a... So in port 1 and port 2, why is the phase shifted by 180 degrees? I'm not able to understand that. What I feel is that it should be continued like
see
the
here,
same.
You forget diagrams. See here. Yeah, see A and B figure you see. If you are feeding from port 3, see the diagram here.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see port 3?
Yes.
See, now this corresponding loop port 1 and port 3 you see. What is the signal direction? Opposite. Port 2 to port 3, what is the signal direction? Opposite. Port 1 to port 3. See, it is up, arrow is down. So it is phase difference. Now why? Because of this discontinuity in the middle. The signal phase changes at this particular discontinuity, at this mid portion. Similarly, if you are feeding power at port 1, similarly from this discontinuity, this particular signal changes its phase at this particular discontinuity. Because here discontinuity is there, some signal mismatch will be there, as a result of which phase will change and signal distortion will take place, as well as field lines will get varied from this particular discontinuation.
Sir, so
You have not
because of
studied. Yeah.
so because of the discontinuity, the random reflections take
Obviously,
place.
you see in this manner, you for timing, you just imagine you have a particular flow, you have a pipe, okay? In that pipe, there is no discontinuity. Water is continuously flowing in it, correct?
Yes.
Now, first you make a hole in that pipe. Now see, the power will come out from that. No, now the coming out power will power means water is coming out. Now the flow of water will be reversed to what it is flowing previously. No, now you make two discontinuities. So again, the power will be different. No, the water will be coming out in different direction as compared to what it was flowing previously because of this discontinuity. This discontinuity tends to change the angle of signal. No.
Okay, sir. Got it. Good.
Yes. So today's class attendance is 191. Download attendance list. Yeah. So I will share this PPT with you all. Okay. You were asking, somebody was asking me the PPT yesterday night. I don't know who is that, but once a particular topic is completed, definitely I will share the PPT with you all so that you can go through those PPTs. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? What about other classes? All classes are running like this? You have which all subjects this semester? You can unmute yourself.
So other than this, we have microprocessors, analog and digital communication.
So all these classes started? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, then I hope all of you are understanding. If you have any type of questions, you can message me on WhatsApp also if I am not presenting, so I can clarify your doubts. So hopefully by the end of August, I will complete this microwave engineering portion, whatever is allotted to me. Then I think from next month, yes.
So the book that you recommended for this subject, does it have the basics of transmission line?
Because I have told you to transmission line you don't have? Which book you are referring?
No, like whatever book that you told us to read from. I just wanted to know.
Tell me the name of the book which I have referred you.
Some S something, I don't remember.
Samuel S. Liao. Samuel S. Liao.
Yes,
it's a microwave book. It is a microwave book. It is there. How you are telling it is not there? In chapter 3 it is there, no? Microwave transmission line. It starts from what you call chapter 1 will start from your introduction about microwave frequency devices and all. Then chapter chapter 1 will be interaction between electrons and how this feels like basics of your electromagnetic. Then plane waves will be there. I think in chapter 2 plane waves are there. Then chapter 3 transmission lines are there. Full complete transmission line is there. Okay, I don't know how you are not getting. Third edition book you are don't download Indian version. I have not told to download Indian version. I have specifically told to download that New Jersey version, Clifford, New Jersey, third edition, Prentice Hall. It is mentioned in PPT. Anyhow, I will share the PPT. You can download. It is a freely downloadable version. In chapter 3, it is there, microwave transmission line. I remember I have studied that in my BTech.
Okay.
100% it is there. All things, impedance matching, Smith chart, standing wave ratio, everything is there. Then you have waveguide also in that. Then components are there. It's a full-fledged book. It's a very good author. Samuel L. Liao, and still he is alive and is a good researcher in microwave. Can download it. Just type Samuel L. Liao third edition, and it is Cliffwood, New Jersey, country, and publication is Prentice Hall. It is not PHI. So if you download that version, you will get all these things. But derivations and all are not there. So derivations, whatever is there in PPT for S parameters that I have derived and given to you, just follow that. It is simply S parameters value. They will give you S11, S21. They have not solved the value for S parameters, which I have solved here. Anyhow, it is basically Samuel L. Liao. It is not a book. It is a combination of various research paper what he has done till now. So it is just for your reference. I don't know how much you will understand it or not, but it is basically a research paper combined together to form a book.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Any other questions?
So, yes, sir. Sir, on the internet, it is written that microwave frequency starts from 300 megahertz, and at some places, it is written that it starts from 3.
इंटरनेट को छोड़ दो, जो मैंने दिया है इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक स्पेक्ट्रम उसको देखो.
So, sir, microwave
300
starts.
मेगाहर्ट्ज कितना हुआ है बताओ. एक मिनट रुको. 300 मेगाहर्ट्ज कितना हुआ? 300 into 10 to the power 6 कितना हुआ? 3 into 10 to the power 8 हुआ ना भाई?
3.
हैं? तो
Yes,
फिर
sir.
तो वैसे ही कन्वर्ट कर लो ना, जो डायग्राम में मैंने कन्वर्ट 10 to the power of -1 to 10 to the power of -3 उसका वेवलेंथ वेरी करता है मीटर में. Lambda is equal to what? C by F. C is nothing but 3 into 10 to the power of 8. अब कैलकुलेट करो. 10 to the power of -1 है तो ऊपर से क्या चला जाएगा? नीचे से ऊपर जाएगा तो 10 to the power of 9 हो जाएगा ना, गीगाहर्ट्ज. That's all. 300 megahertz more or less same only. Yes. So okay, you are seeing internet and you are verifying. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? I hope.
Sir, can you please send the slides for the portion that we have covered till now?
Yes, sure, I will send. You can expect by today evening, because one mistake was there, no? As we have seen. Yes. That I will correct it and I will send it to you. Because if I send the same slide, yeah. By evening you will get it. By evening or max by tomorrow. Before next class you will get 100% these slides.
Okay,
next class
sir.
is Friday and Saturday. No? Before that you will get it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, shall we leave the meeting? Answer. Shall we?
Yes, sir.
Stop the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Happy weekend. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Likewise, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.